What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Courting. Kind of an early video, but I've got a interview on Louder with Crowder at 10 a.m. Central over on his YouTube channel if you want to check that out. If you see this video early enough, otherwise he'll upload the VOD sometime today too. I've been fuming more and more as I think about the deplatforming situation with not just Leafy, but with everybody that has been deplatformed from YouTube. There are creators like Monkey Jones, who received 3 simultaneous strikes and then was yeeted from the platform. I don't want to go down the list of content creators that I think are worse because there are innumerable. I mean, do I need to bring up the Ouija board at 3 a.m. guy? How about atheism is unstoppable, continually being yeeted from the platform? People like Gavin McInnes, Frank Hassel. Some of these creators did have some TOS violations, but many of them never received a single strike or received all 3 at once. And the problem with this is simple. What the hell is the purpose of a community guidelines strike if you have no chance to correct your behavior? The spirit of the system is to have a strike be corrective. No, I don't think I'm taking a huge leap here to assume that's what YouTube intended the community guideline strike system to be. But in Leafy's situation, a kid that made nearly $4 million with a $60 microphone and playing some video game over the top of it had 0 strikes on his channel, 0 warning from YouTube, 0 opportunity for corrective behavior, and was simply removed from the platform. The problems with this are many. First and foremost, what is the point of having community guideline strikes? Secondly, this is the same old argument, right? That banning speech somehow stops the idea from happening. Removing Leafy somehow will stop people from being critical of Pokimane. It's absurd. Removing this whack-a-mole content creators we don't like doesn't actually change the way anyone else creates content, because we live by the systems, in fact, that you asked us to live under. Now, I've been on the record, that is, saying I was pretty confident that Leafy would get his account back. But further developments have now changed my opinion on that. First and foremost, YouTube has not responded, at least as of 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning, at all to it, including on their Team YouTube Twitter handle, which has been responding every 5 minutes all weekend long ever since the ban. The second questionable thing is that Leafy's second channel appears to have been banned as well, which would indicate that not only was this not a mistake, but they noticed he had been on a second channel and went and banned him there too, even though that channel presumably didn't have any strikes either. So again, I ask Susan, what is the point of copyright strikes? Are you just going to take somebody out in the street every 3 months and end them in front of everybody and hope that we all fall in line? Why do you even have the community guideline strike system? You yourself define it simply as community guideline strikes are issued when our reviewers are notified of a policy violation of the rule for how to behave on YouTube. Sometimes content is removed. Reasons other than community guideline. You mean like you just want to? Such as first-party privacy complaint or a court order. In these cases, the uploader won't get a strike. What happens if you get a strike? Well, we all know that. Warning. But let's look at how they define their own strikes. First strike. If we find your content does not follow our policies for a second time, this is after their warning, by the way, which is a nice system they added, by the way, you'll get a strike. This means you won't be able to upload videos for a week, live stream, or do stories. You can't create custom thumbnails, community posts. You can't create, edit, or add collaborators to playlists. You cannot add or remove playlists. Full privileges will be restored automatically after the 1 week period, but your strike will remain for 90 days. So you can have at most 3 strikes on a rolling period of a year to have your channel okay, right? The second strike within the same, 3 strikes in a rolling 90-day period. If you get a second strike within the same 90-day period as your first strike, you will not be able to post content for 2 weeks. If there are no further issues, full privileges will be restored automatically after the 2-week period. What to do if you get a strike? Learn about our community guidelines strikes. If your channel got a strike and you think we've made a mistake, you can appeal the decision. Well, it doesn't appear that many of these content creators have been able to appeal the decision because they wake up and their entire channels are gone. You can see quite honestly the way this works. You had Leafy. Morning, Team YouTube, my channel was suspended yesterday. Curious if there's anything I could do to get it reinstated or if there are any statements on this that you could give. This tweet has 65,000 likes, over 7,000 retweets, and 0 replies from Team YouTube. Now, I can take a look at Team YouTube's Twitter account and see that they've been very busy replying to channels of minuscule size every 20 minutes for the past several days. The fact that Team YouTube has continued to ignore this tells me some troubling details about the ban. I don't believe that it is what I previously thought it was, because my channel here on The Quartering has at one time in the past been brigaded by strikes. It got 3 strikes on like 3 different videos from a brigade of salty Magic the Gathering judges that were mad that I outed 12 adults that were fans of children, we'll say, amongst their midst, and my channel disappeared. I had no chance to appeal, no chance to reply to YouTube. If it weren't for the rest of the community rising up, I doubt YouTube would even have cared. Turns out all 3 of those strikes were false and they were removed. I thought originally that Leafy's channel was terminated due to a brigade of strikes, but the fact that you add in now that this second channel has been suspended, it doesn't appear that way. Leafy himself says, I checked emails, didn't get strike combos, just a suspension. So they removed his account without applying any strikes, or at least hasn't sent any notifications of strikes, and have gone radio silent. So what the hell is actually the purpose of this, YouTube? How is anyone supposed to learn from this supposed example that you're setting? You want to make Leafy an example? Where's the public statement? All right. And if you want to go down the rabbit hole of looking at his actual content, and I've said this plenty of times before, his content isn't for me. That doesn't mean it's not good. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not for me. I'm not here defending Leafy, simping for Leafy. I'm very concerned for the precedent that this sets for content creators, because it effectively means the community guideline strike system is pointless. It effectively means the community guideline strike applies when they want it to apply, but if your channel gets too big and you're doing something they don't like, they just remove your channel. Why wouldn't you have done maybe what you did to Crowder, where you removed monetization but allowed the channel to exist? Because as far as I could tell, if you had never given Leafy a community guideline strike, how is he supposed to know he was over the line? Yes, we all know that there are general guidelines, things that you shouldn't do in videos, things that you can't do in videos. But many of Leafy's videos, of the dozen or so he uploaded using Pokimane as clickbait, weren't even about her. And the ones that were maybe had a line or two here or there that was a little spicy, and maybe had he had gotten a strike for that, I would have understood, and it would have allowed him to use some corrective behavior and not had that problem going forward. But YouTube isn't at all interested in corrective behavior. They're about hammering the nail that sticks out or sticks down, and they don't really care about teaching us a lesson or showing exactly what we should and shouldn't do. They don't care. And no, I don't believe that Pokimane picked up the phone and called YouTube. I don't believe that. I believe that Leafy has always been on their radar since he came back, and he had finally done enough in their eyes for them to remove him. And instead of giving him corrective action, treating him like any other YouTuber. They used special punitive behavior against a large channel, which is ridiculous. Every smaller channel right now should be angry as hell that the strike system didn't apply to him, because someday all these clowns that are celebrating that the ha 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 Leafy's gone, I didn't like him, ha 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 ha, well, someday not having strikes and having your channel is going to apply, or having your channel removed is going to happen to you. And you know what? People are going to be far less inclined to give a damn about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, Team YouTube, communicate to us at least what is going on here and fix your community guideline strike system, because you might as well call it one strike and you're out if we don't like you. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.